you, which I've got to say we're having problems with Riverside. I'll be very open about that. You will notice if you're watching us here that the we can't seem to change the title of the link
without getting, yes, the page closes down. We're going to make another
yeah,
decision.
We will take care of this, but I didn't want to delay. I'll retweet, so it's more comprehensible. Tonight we're reading again, as we did in San Francisco, from our friends at Book Passage. The book I got there, Jack Kerouac's On the Road, and we're going to read. Ooh, I just went through it or something. Well, host will be here soon. It says.
You're still showing for us.
Okay.
We can still see you. So I say carry on.
All right. Sorry about all the problems we're having, but
Some of them might be producer.
No, this is
Error.
all Riverside.
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh.
Thanks, Riverside.
And Riverside has not been particularly responsive. Let's just put it that way. Okay, Kerouac's On the Road, as you know. All right, so this is based on Jack Kerouac and Neal Cassidy's trip across the United States in the late 40s. This came out in 1960. Jack Kerouac.
Will you show
As
the
you
cover
may know.
without doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Just hold it.
Jack Kerouac, as you may know, wrote it on a typewriter, and he had a big roll of paper that he just, it was like almost like kitchen toweling, and he just.
And he kind of treated it that way, right? His words.
Yeah. And he no punctuation. Eventually, this got turned into a novel. He just wrote, in any event, about the cross-country trip he made with Neal Cassady. And as you know, everything eventually traces through Chicago. I think we've established that. So here they are, arriving. Jack Kerouac writes, "It was an ordinary bus trip with crying babies and hot sun and country folk getting on at one pen town after another, till we got on the plain of Ohio and really rolled up by Ashtabula and straight across Indiana in the night. I arrived in Chi quite early in the morning, got a room at the Y, and went to bed with a very few dollars in my pocket. I dug Chicago after a good day's sleep. The wind from Lake Michigan, bop at the Loop, long walks around South Halstead and North Clark, and one long walk after midnight into the jungles, where a cruising car followed me as a suspicious character. At this time in 1947, Bop was going like mad all over America. The fellows at the Loop blew, but with a tired air, because Bop was somewhere between its Charlie Parker ornithology period and other periods that began with Miles Davis. And I sat there and listened to the sound of the night which Bop has come to represent for all of us. I thought of all my friends from one end of the country to the other, and how they were really all in the same vast backyard doing something so frantic and rushing about. And for the first time in my life, the following afternoon, I went into the West. It was a warm and beautiful day for hitchhiking. To get out of the impossible complexities of Chicago traffic, I took a bus to Joliet, Illinois, went by the Joliet State Pen, stationed myself just outside of town after a walk through its leafy, rickety streets behind, and pointed my way, all the way from New York to Joliet by bus, and I had spent more than half my money. My first ride was a dynamite truck with a red flag about 30 miles into the great green Illinois. The truck driver pointing out the place where Route 66, which we were on, intersects Route 66 before they both shoot west for an incredible distance. Along about 3 in the afternoon, after an apple pie and ice cream in a roadside stand, a woman stopped me in Little Coupe. At a twinge of hard joy as I ran after the car. She was the mother of a son, my old age, and wanted someone to help her drive to Iowa. I was all for it, Iowa. Not so far from Denver, and once I got to Denver, I could relax. She drove the first few hours, at one point insisted on visiting an old church somewhere as if we were tourists. Then I took over the wheel, and though I'm not much of a driver, drove clear through the rest of Illinois to Davenport, Iowa, via Rock Island. And here, for the first time in my life, I saw the beloved Mississippi River, dry in the summer haze, low in water, with its big rank smell that smells like the raw body of America itself, because it washes up. Rock Island, railroad tracks, shacks, small downtown section, and over the bridge into Davenport, some kind of town, all smelling of sawdust in the warm Midwest sun. Here the lady had to go on to her Iowa hometown by another route, and I got out. The sun was going down. I walked after a few cold beers to the edge of town, and it was a long walk. All the men were driving home from work wearing railroad hats, baseball hats, all kinds of hats, just like after work in any town anywhere. One of them gave me a ride up the hill and left me at a lonely crossroads on the edge of the prairie. Gosh, it was beautiful there. The only cars that came by were farmer cars. They gave me suspicious looks. They clanked along because the cows were coming home. Not a truck. A few cars zipped by. A hot rod kid came by with his scarf flying. The sun went all the way down, and I was standing in the purple darkness. Now I was scared. There weren't even lights on in the Iowa countryside, and in a minute nobody would be able to see me. Luckily, a man going back to Davenport gave me a lift downtown, but I was back right where I started from. I went to sit in the bus station and think this over. I ate another apple pie and ice cream. That's practically all I ate all the way across the country. I knew it was nutritious. Let me pause there. It wasn't in particular, right? I knew it was nutritious. Well, this was the 50s, and what we know of nutrition. And it was delicious, of course. I decided to gamble. I took a bus in downtown Davenport after spending a half hour watching a waitress in the bus station cafe and rode to the city limits, but this time near the gas stations. Here the big trucks roared, wham, and inside 2 minutes, one of them cranked to a stop for me. I ran it to it with my soul whooping, and what a driver, a great, big, rough, tough truck driver with popping eyes and a hoarse, raspy voice who just slammed and kicked at everything and got his rig underway and paid hardly any attention to me. So I could rest my tired little soul a little, for one of the biggest troubles hitchhiking is having to talk to innumerable people, making them feel that they didn't make a mistake by picking you up, even entertaining them almost, all of which is a great strain when you're going all the way and don't plan to sleep in hotels. The guy just yelled above the roar, and all I had to do was yell back, and we relaxed. And he bawled that thing clear to Iowa City and yelled me the funniest stories about how he got around the law in every town that had an unfair speed limit, saying over and over again, them goddamn cops can't put no flies on my ass. Just as we rolled into Iowa City, he saw another truck coming behind us, and because he had to turn off at Iowa City, he blinked his taillights. The other guy slowed down for me to jump out, which I did with my bag, and the other truck, acknowledging this exchange, stopped for me. And once again, in the twink of nothing, I was in another big, high cab, all set to go, hundreds of miles across the night, and boy, was I happy. And the new truck driver was as crazy as the other and yelled just as much, and all I had to do was lean back and roll on. Now, I could see Denver looming ahead of me like promised land, all the way out there beneath the stars across the prairie of Iowa and the plains of Nebraska, and I could see the greater vision of San Francisco beyond like jewels in the night. He bawled the jack and told stories for a couple of hours, then at a town in Iowa where years later Dean and I were stopped On suspicion of what looked like a stolen Cadillac, he slept a few hours in the seat. I slept too, and took one little walk along the lonely brick walls illuminated by one lamp, with the prairie brooding at the end of each little street and the smell of the corn like dew in the night. He woke up with a start at dawn and off roared. And an hour later, the smoke of Des Moines appeared ahead over the green cornfields. We had to eat his breakfast now. He had to eat his breakfast now and wanted to take it easy, so I went right on into Des Moines, about 4 miles, hitching a ride with 2 boys from the University of Iowa. Strange sitting in their brand new comfortable car and hearing them talk of exams as we zoomed smoothly into town. But now I wanted to sleep for the whole day. So I went to the Y and got a room. They didn't have any, and by instinct I wandered down to the railroad tracks. There are a lot of railroad tracks in Des Moines. And wound up in a gloomy old Plains Inn of a hotel by the Locomotive Roadhouse and spent a long day sleeping on a big, clean, hard white bed with dirty remarks carved into the wall beside my pillow, and the beat yellow window shades pulled over the smoky scene of the rail yards. I woke up and the sun was reddening. And that was the one distinct time in my life, the strangest moment of all. And I didn't know who I was. I was far away from home, haunted and tired with travel, and in a cheap hotel room I'd never seen before, hearing the hiss of steam outside and the creak of the old wood of the hotel, and the footsteps upstairs and all the sad sounds. And I looked at the cracked high ceiling and really didn't care who I was for about 15 strange seconds. I wasn't scared. I was just somebody else. I was a stranger, some stranger, and my whole life was a haunted life, the life of a ghost. I was halfway across America at the dividing line between the east of my youth and the west of my future. Maybe that's why it happened right there and right then, that strange red afternoon. But I had to get going and stop moaning. So I picked up my bag, said so long to the old hotel keeper, sitting by his spoon, his spittoon, and I went to eat. I ate apple pie and ice cream. It was getting better as I got deeper into Iowa. The pie bigger, the ice cream richer.
Can everybody see what Scott's sweatshirt says?
Oh, so I believe I posted this on X. Our friend Clive Richardson runs the Calistoga Roastery in Calistoga. And I had to get this sweatshirt that's at the roastery because, as you know, on X I say every Saturday before I show, in studio, caffeinated and ready to leap upon the news like, look at what this sweatshirt says. So I saw that and I said, Clive, I gotta buy that. Because he didn't let me pay for coffee. I shouldn't say that. Now everyone's going to do that, right? So thanks very much for being with us on our open book. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I think we're going to read from our friends at the Paris Review, running an old interview from 1960 of Robert Frost, which is just terrific. Robert Frost is undergoing a new appreciation now. And I think you will understand why when we read the interview. So thanks very much for being with us. We'll get this thing worked out with Riverside or without Riverside. But, you know, it's hard to have any guests until we get this work out.
I do have one question
Yes.
from Diana. Let's see, I think it was from Diana.
Can't you hear that in Kerouac, the way he just put everything to the roll there? Yeah.
How do people in, I can't find it, but I do remember it. How do people in Chicago feel about Chi-Town? Is it like Frisco with San Francisco?
Not like, no. It's, I mean, I know San Franciscans hate, right? Frisco. Yeah, right. Chicagoans aren't that way, but it's rare you'll hear them refer to Chicago as Chi-Town. The Big Windy, that's, I think that's one that's preferred. Or what other? Yeah, the Big Windy is a good, the Windy City. But even then, yeah, no, but yeah, Chi-Town, Big Chi sometimes is all right. Yeah, you're making a face.
I'm trying to think if I ever heard anyone from Boston actually say Beantown.
Yeah,
No,
people in
right,
Boston
right.
don't say
Yeah, no one
Beantown.
says Beantown.
People in New York don't say, hey, here in Gotham.
Yeah.
Here in the Big Apple.
Yeah, here in the Big Apple.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
certainly nobody here calls it the swamp because we were actually never a swamp.
Is that true?
Yeah, we were never really a swamp.
But we had-
sure are one now.
Yeah, well,
We still have swampy weather.
we do. The mosquitoes are not our fault.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good.
Pesticides.
People in LA say LA.
Yes.
People in LA say LA. Right. Okay. Well, there you
All
go.
right. So see
So
you.
thanks very much for being with us. See you later. Yeah, Big Shy. Take care. Bye bye.